Madam Deputy Speaker, by requiring private schools to pay business rates, as state schools already do, to pay VAT, as our colleges already do, in these extremely difficult times with energy bills going up and pay going down, to ask the public to subsidise a tax break for private schools is inexcusable. And we're not talking about small sums. Madam Deputy Speaker, yesterday's report by the openDemocracy demonstrated further where the government's priorities lie. It found private schools were handed more than £157 million in government subsidised loans during the pandemic under a scheme that barred state schools from applying. This included elite institutions such as the Charterhouse, where the Chancellor went to school, which received a £5 million loan despite declaring £45 million of income that year. Now, the benches opposite and even the Chancellor have recently quoted figures from the Independent Schools Council that Labour's policy will cause private schools to shut and that thousands of pupils will leave the private sector. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Institute for Fiscal Studies found that these claims just do not stack up. While fees have risen significantly in the last 20 years, the proportion of pupils in private education has hardly changed. The Education Secretary claimed earlier the figures she cited didn't come from the private school lobby. So can she be more specific? Did they come from the Treasury? If not, why doesn't the government ask its own officials to look into this? I mean, unfortunately, I think we all know why. And that's because the government won't like the answers it's going to get. Now, the government's position is not only wrong, it's unpopular. Recent polling shows Labour's plan for the country has overwhelming support. The public are right to ask why private schools get tax breaks when state schools face impossible choices on what resources or staff members to cut. Madam Deputy Speaker, in conclusion, after 13 years of Conservative economic mismanagement, which accumulated in the benches opposite crashing the economy last year, tough choices must be made to protect public finances. But the choice facing MPs today is easy. They can choose to spend £1.7 billion on tax breaks for private schools, not our figures, but the figures of the well-respected Resolution Foundation. Or they could choose to spend the money on teachers, mental health support for pupils, and revitalising the careers advice for our young people to receive that support across the country. I challenge the Government Minister and those backbenchers to vote for the motion before the House today to ensure every child in every corner of the country receives a brilliant state education. Because, Madam Deputy Speaker, excellence should be for everyone.